Something that surprised me at this year's EGX was how few mobile games there are. For the last few years we've seen a really large range of platforms, and this year the indie scene was much more pared down in terms of the ways you could play the games. But one mobile game that caught my eye the second I walked in was Ocmo. So here's an interview from the show floor of EGX 2017 with one of Ocmo's developers. One of the things that you've seen more and more over the last few EGXs is how many games are coming out not just on traditional indie platforms like PCs and consoles, for example, but on mobile platforms as well. And I'm joined by a mobile developer right now. So I'm joined by...
Olli Raila from Team Ocmo.
Pleased to meet you. And you are here to tell us about the game...
Ocmo.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about Ocmo. What is Ocmo?
Ocmo is a ninja rope platformer that is on iOS. It's a skill and physics-based ninja rope platformer. There we have a physics engine that affects almost everything in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the key to the game is kind of the ninja rope action, which is totally physics-based movement, which is like the important thing is how you manipulate momentum.
So you say ninja rope, and it is very, very similar to that. There's a huge amount of continuation of momentum, and there's a massive impetus on movement in the game. You have a main character who is Ocmo, I assume?
Yes.
Who is Ocmo, who's a kind of black inky blob octopus, if
Yeah,
would you describe him that way?
Yeah, I'd say he's half spider, half octopus.
Oh, okay, that's a lot more concise and better than inky blob.
Yeah.
And you use this half spider, half octopus to grab onto certain platforms. You then fling from those platforms to other platforms, and once you really get the hang of it, you can throw this character around the game, so you can really have huge amounts of speed and momentum carried over. You can make your way through levels incredibly quickly. How did the initial idea for a game like this come about?
It was actually quite organic process. Like in the beginning, we were prototyping with a lot of different kinds of genres and different kind of gameplays. And at some point, it was in the beginning the game was a strategy game, and then it became a puzzle game. And then when we found the movement mechanics and realized that it is really good, then we focused around that and built a hardcore platformer.
Okay, so what did it look like as a strategy game? That's really interesting.
It was centered around liquid physics.
Oh, wow, okay. And I guess to some extent you can see the continuation of liquid physics here, because really, in a way, Ocmo behaves kind of like his own little liquid, in a way.
Yeah, he's a totally procedurally generated character, so that the gravity, for example, affects all his movement.
So you say that you're developing this for mobile, and you're showing it off on an iPad here on the show floor, but you told me earlier that you've been developing this for 5 years.
Yeah.
That's got to be quite a daunting timescale, because the mobile indie game market has changed quite a lot in 5 years. How do you think Ocmo compares to when it started development, and what it was like compared to its industry to now?
Yeah, of course the industry has gone to more in the direction of free-to-play, and it is we are probably facing some struggle with the market, because the game, what we are trying to do is to bring a Steam and console type of gameplay to mobile, but it's like it's almost up to the featuring of Apple that will decide how it will end up.
Has there been any discussion of it going onto other platforms, or are you set on it being a mobile product?
We are actually planning on porting the game after the global launch on iOS. After the launch, we will port it to Steam.
Oh, cool. Okay. I was saying to somebody earlier when I was playing it that I could really see it working with a dual stick kind of setup. Has that ever crossed the mind of the developers or been tested?
Definitely, and we are quite certain that it would work quite well.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about yourself. What's your experience in the industry? How did you get to developing Ocmo?
Actually, by profession I am an architect.
All right.
And a few years ago, or like actually 5 years ago, my friend asked me if I want to join the team to make graphics for a game. And it was a kind of a childhood dream that I really wanted to do. And then we thought that the project would last about a year, but now it's 5 years later and the project is ready.
So you must have learned a huge amount about the other side of gaming and video games, having come in as an architect and now being one of the main people developing this product.
Definitely, yeah.
What's the biggest lesson that you think you've learned? That's a very big question, but what's the biggest lesson you think you've learned over those 5 years?
I think we have a few things that we think are the biggest barriers that we entered was to have a precise goal in the beginning, not like because our project was created really organically and through prototyping and finding interesting stuff, and it is not the most cost efficient way. It is a way to find unique and interesting stuff, but it is not a way to find quickly released products.
Mm-hmm. And where's the dev team based?
We are in Turku in Finland.
Oh wow! So you've come a long way to be at EGX then.
Yeah. I think it took like 10 hours to get here.
Wow! Is it the first EGX? Have you ever been to one before?
This is our first time.
Is it good? Has it been a good experience?
It's been an excellent experience.
So worth the 10 hours?
Definitely.
Good.
It seems like a massive event.
So when should we be expecting to get our hands, or our fingers more accurately, on Ocmo?
It will be available on iOS on the end of next month.
Okay, so very soon.
Yes.
Excellent. And if people wanted more information, where should they look for you guys?
We have a Facebook page called Team Ocmo, and Twitter and Instagram, and then we have a website called www.teamocmo.com.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is Team Ocmo, a physics-based spider octopus platformer. Those are words I never thought I'd chain together in a sentence. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
That, ladies and gentlemen, was an interview from Ocmo, and it was our final interview of our EGX Indie Views from 2017. Thank you very much for listening. If you did, we really, really appreciate it. Perhaps you're considering subscribing to the show so you don't miss what we do in the future, and liking it so we can get out in front of a few more people. You can find us on social media platforms. We're at Games Upcast on both Facebook and Twitter. And we will see you next year for EGX 2018. It's been a pleasure. Thanks very much, and until next time, the game's up.